Hi friends, Mindy here. Welcome back to another Word Study Wednesday. Today I am going to be working in my Word Study Journal from the James Method. I will put my affiliate link down below. They just had a release that started yesterday with some new product. So if you are interested in that, my link will be in the description box. But I am focusing on the word dwell today from Psalm 91:1. A couple weeks ago, I did the word refuge, and this verse has just been in my mind ever since then. And so I really wanted to look at this word dwell. Psalm 91:1 says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." And this word dwell or dwelleth is Strong's number H3427, and it occurs a lot in the Old Testament, over 900 times, nearly 1,000 times in verses. And so because it's translated so many different ways, I'm going to be really kind of simplifying this particular word for kind of my focus for today. So I went ahead and wrote out the parsing. I'm going to write down the definition, the Strong's definition, which is to sit down, to dwell, to remain, to settle, abide, endure, establish. The usage is to dwell, remain, sit, abide, remain, stay. Under the concordance section, I went ahead and just listed all the ways that this word is used, from dwell to inhabitant, set, abide, inhabit, down, remain, in, tarry, and there's just a ton of them. So I cut this part out of the video because there's actually a lot, and you can see all of the verses there that it shows up under usage. And then I did go ahead and pop over to the lexicon. It comes also in H4908, which also means tabernacle or dwelling. And so what I decided to do is just write down a few of the verses over here in my notes and nuggets section. Again, this is kind of how I like to do this, different ways that this word has been translated. So Psalm 1 verse 1 says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful." This word sitteth here is the same as dwell. And I just felt like this was an important verse to ponder when you're considering how we should dwell, is that, we should dwell in the Most High, but we should also not dwell in the way of sinners. So I've said this before in other videos, it's important to know what to do and what not to do. And then Psalm 27:4 is the next verse that I'm writing out here. This is my favorite verse maybe of all time. I love this verse, and so I definitely wanted to include it here. It says, "One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple." If this were maybe a life verse for me, this would be one of them. So I just love this verse. The word dwell here obviously is what we're focusing on. And I am just going through, as I'm writing out these verses, I'm taking my Tombow marker and just highlighting the verse address basically and or reference, and then also the word and how it's translated. So in this instance, obviously it is dwell. And then Psalm 102:12 says, "But thou, O Lord, shalt endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations." So here this word endure is translated to dwell. So kind of giving along, that idea of remaining, of settling, of abiding. These are all really important words and really important verbs for us to be remembering and to be doing, because this is really a choice. We choose to put ourselves and to stay in his covering, and that is a choice that we all need to make. And so the next verse that I'm writing here is Psalm 125:1, which says, "They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever." So this word abideth here is the same word as dwell or dwelleth. And again, it's, telling us what we need to be doing. We need to be putting our trust in the Lord, and we cannot be removed when we do that. And so we will abide with him when we trust in him. The last verse that I'm going to write down here is Psalm 140 verse 13, which says, "Surely the righteous shall give thanks unto thy name, the upright shall dwell in thy presence." And I decided to write down part of Matthew Henry's commentary because it's just so beautiful as my main takeaway, instead of trying to kind of put all this idea into words. And so I'm just going to read it. I ended up having to go over to a sticky note to continue the whole part of this, but it says, "He that by faith chooses God for his guardian shall find all that in him which he needs or can desire. It is to be the character of a true believer that he dwells in the secret place of the Most High. He is at home in God, returns to God, and reposes in him as his rest. He acquaints himself with the inward religion and makes heart work of the service of God, worships within the veil, and loves to be alone with God. And then I'm going to move over to the little sticky note. These are Mr. Pen sticky notes, and you have to have like a slick writer to write on them, or even a Sharpie marker would work. But this next part says that it is the privilege and comfort of those that do so, that they abide under the shadow of the Almighty. He shelters them and comes between anything that would annoy them, whether storm or sunshine. They shall not only have an admittance, but a residence under God's protection. He will be their rest and refuge forever. And I love this idea that he is basically a residence. We have a residence under God's protection. He will be their rest and refuge forever. So I know sometimes I like to include a main takeaway here, but I really wanted to include this section of Matthew Henry's commentary just because I really feel like it kind of underscores the point that we need to choose. This is something that we choose by faith, and we choose to stay also. And these kind of ideas that we should be at home in God, we return to him, we find our rest in him, and acquaint ourselves with him. We serve, we worship within the veil, we love to be alone with God, and having that time of communion with him through prayer, through Bible reading, through Bible study, through all of those things. It really is a relationship, and when we do that, we can rest under his wing, under his protection. And so I'm just finishing up writing the rest of this here on my little sticky note, and then that will just kind of go over off to the side. And then I'm going to do a little bit here to kind of decorate my page just a little bit, to add a little bit more interest. Just circling that section that says Matthew Henry, so I know where that quote came from. And I'm adding a little bit of this faux washi tape. This is from By the Well for God from a long time ago. It's just been in my stash for a while. It kind of looks like vintage lace. And so I'm going to add that there at the top of my Matthew Henry section. And then I'm going to add a little bit up at the notes and nuggets section as well. And if you can see in the lexicon, I did add a little bit more information over there. Because I went in and looked up that H4908, which also is tabernacle, dwelling, habitation. And then it's also from a reference of H7931, which is to dwell. And so I just wanted to make sure I had all of that down in my lexicon. I could have written that probably in the roots or derivatives, but it was kind of a little rabbit trail that I was going down. So I just wanted to write that there as well. Just added a few little stickers here just to bring some interest to the page. Like I said, I've said this before, whenever I'm doing these kind of studies, it's always about function over form for me. I want to make sure I get all my notes on first. And then I do go back and add a sticker next to Psalm 27:4 that's got a little heart. You can see that in the pictures at the end. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Consider joining my Facebook group. That's in the description as well. And until next time, bye.